The rain did not stop. The ground was saturated. But no one imagined what would come next. The 23rd of July 2018 afternoon, deep in the Lao jungle, the auxiliary dam Gipian Genimnoi suddenly fractured. There were no warnings. There was no time. An immense wall of water, mud and debris was released with fury, devouring entire villages in minutes. Entire families were away in the dark, while the rescuers were desperately trying to find survivors among the floating debris. The result was catastrophic. More than 6,600 homeless villages completely wiped off the map, and an uncertain number of missing persons. But the scariest part is that this disaster could have been avoided. Subsequent reports revealed that the company in charge of the dam had discovered cracks hours before the collapse, but instead of evacuating, simply tried to reinforce the structure. A systematic attempt against the force of nature. Water always finds its way, and that afternoon in Laos found it with devastating consequences. It was only a matter of time. The Rapid Dam in Minnesota, more than a century, containing the waters of the Blue Heart River, but its structure was borderline cracks. Deteriorated concrete and rebar exposed were clear signs that something was wrong, but the warnings were ignored. Then in June 2024, the perfect storm came. 3 days. Heavy rains raised the river to historic levels. The pressure was too much. Suddenly, part of the dam gave way, and nature claimed its space with unstoppable force. Oh my! The collapse of the Rapid Dam was not an accident, but a warning. Not only for Minnesota, but for the entire country. More than 4,000 in the United States, the same conditions, the worst. All structures facing an increasingly extreme climate. Repairing them would cost more than $1 billion, a price that many governments are to pay. But history has taught us something, is that when we ignore the danger, sooner or later water finds its way, and does so without mercy. Extreme rains hit the region of Uttarakhand, overflowing rivers and pushing the Kedarnath Dam to its limit. The water was falling with unusual strength, hitting the structure, while the furious currents, debris, and mud. The storm had turned the landscape into an uncontrollable torrent. Is man. Shipman. Now I'm flying here, I'm still. But this was only part of the disaster. Further down in the valleys and villages, the fury of water had destroyed roads, buried villages, and claimed thousands of lives. North Kong experienced tragedy, one of most devastating, a lethal combination of extreme rainfall and a territory increasingly vulnerable due to human action. When nature responds, does so without mercy. In 2018, Laos experienced a devastating disaster when a prey could not resist the fury of nature. Extreme rains saturated the terrain and caused an uncontrolled release of water. Dams and hydroelectric power plants are an engineering marvel, but also a time bomb when facing unprecedented rains. When rains outweigh any drought, even the strongest structures are put to the test. Accumulated water must be released to prevent collapse. But this also means a river of uncontrollable force, advancing without restraint. In a world where extreme weather is becoming more and more dams frequent, and hydroelectric plants face unprecedented pressure and the minimum margin of error. Hydroelectric plants are essential for energy supply, but when the rains overflow Los Rios, its capacity is pushed to the limit. In April 2016, a storm hit Chile, raising the Los Rios Cachapul and Tinguiricas to critical levels, with Lake Rapel exceeding its maximum capacity. There was no choice but to open one of the six gates, a spectacle rarely seen. The Rapel Reservoir, built in 1969 to ensure agricultural irrigation and contribute to energy generation, is once again witnessing the force of nature. After a recent storm that hit several areas of the country, its gates were opened again to free accumulated excess water. The shocking images show the power with which the reservoir responds to these extreme rains, a phenomenon that has become increasingly frequent in Chile. When water accumulates beyond the limits, hydroelectric plants must discharge to avoid a catastrophe. However, this controlled release is a reminder of the immense power of nature. In a world where extreme weather events are increasingly common, these structures face increasing challenges. And the line between control and chaos is thinner than it looks. No one saw the disaster coming until it was too late. Brazil's dam was hit all at once, releasing a wave of toxic sludge that devoured everything in its path. Mine workers, nearby villages' whole roads. In a matter of seconds, the landscape became a mud cemetery, and debris cameras captured the exact moment. An avalanche of waste, advancing with a force that is impossible to stop. A Guadalupe tutorial A unfortunate others. But the tragedy did not end there. Sludge contaminated 250 hectares and made its way to the Paraopeba River, a vital artery for hundreds of communities. Miles away, the Low Retreat Dam became the last line of defense to prevent the contamination from reaching the San Francisco River, on which millions of people depend for drinking water, irrigation, and fishing. If the mud got there, the environmental impact would be devastating, compromising ecosystems and the sustenance of entire cities. Brazil witnessed, once again, as excessive ambition and negligence can convert a defective structure in a death sentence for thousands of people and for nature itself. The 26th of October 2015, a powerful magnitude 8.1 earthquake shook Pakistan, testing the country's infrastructure. At the Tarbala hydroelectric station, the shake released sand and clay into the cooling pipes, obstructing the flow of water. To avoid further damage, emergency relief valve activated, releasing a torrent of murky water directly to the download channel. Critical to restore the system and prevent a collapse in the midst of the crisis. At the Tarbala hydroelectric power plant, the controlled release of water through its valves is an essential operation. Over the years, extreme rainfall and sediment accumulation have tested the capacity of the reservoir, forcing the gates to be opened to avoid excessive pressure on the structure. This not only protects the integrity of the hydroelectric but also prevents flooding downstream, ensuring that the system continues to function without endangering nearby communities. Thank you for being. These events make clear an undeniable truth. Dams and hydroelectric plants, although essential, are vulnerable to the force of nature, either due to extreme rainfall, earthquakes, or structural failures. When these structures are pushed to the limit, the consequences can be catastrophic. Proper management and maintenance is not an option, but a necessity to prevent the next disaster from being only a matter of time. When pressure is excessive, there is no other option. The floodgates open and nature recovers its course. In Brazil, a dam is a torrent of water with impressive strength, a reminder of the dynamic balance between control and chaos. These discharges are necessary to avoid overflows, but the image of millions falling without break is a spectacle as overwhelming as it is disturbing. Dams not only store water, but also contain power. without proper handling. What begins as a liberation controlled can become devastating flooding. In a country where heavy rains and raging rivers are part of the landscape, these structures are in constant challenge against the force of nature. And the difference between stability and disaster may depend on a single decision. The 14th of May 2019, the Dunlap Lake Dam was given without warning. In a matter of hours, water disappeared. Continues back a dry bed and debris where there used to be a lake. What it looked like widening at the Guadalupe River in an empty riverbed, while residents watched in amazement as the water slid down the river. Unlike other collapses, catastrophic events did not devastate entire communities, but did destroy docks, boats, and properties along the shore. Fragility of the dam was left undisturbed, and with it the harsh reality. When a structure cannot withstand water pressure, there is no turning back. It all started with a roar. In a matter of seconds, an entire mountainside broke loose and fell into the reservoir. In China, tons of rocks, trees, and mud rushed into the water, generating a gigantic wave that devastated everything in its path. A man ran through his life as the earth rolled behind him. A brutal reminder of the force of nature. For already, the slippage not only blocked roads and destroyed part of the reservoir, but a dam also collapsed in the region. Thousands of cubic meters of debris buried the area, cutting off access and damaging a hydroelectric plant. Fortunately, there were no casualties, but the infrastructure was seriously affected. When the mountain gives way, there is no barrier capable of resisting their fury. Dam collapses are catastrophic events that remind us of the unforgiving power and the importance of a secure infrastructure. We hope this video has worked for you. Shocking and informative. If you liked it, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to Extreme Nature, and activate the bell for more content on the most extreme phenomena of nature. See you in the next video.